and welcome back to Soundcheck from Visual Radio Arts. And we've just had a fantastic set from VÄLVØ. It's Chlöe.
Hello, thank you.
I was saying to you earlier that the place to be for this set was inside a set of headphones. I was listening at the desk, and it was such a treat. All the sort of like little sounds moving around, and those little sort of details that perhaps get lost sometimes when people are just in an audience in a room with a PA.
Yeah, the recordings are always designed mainly to be listened to on headphones, but performing, I have no idea. I just hope that it would sound like that.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell.
I was just wondering if you've ever considered doing some of those, those 3D spatial recordings, like with Atmos and what have you?
Yes, that's something I really want to do.
Yeah.
Which one day.
Yeah. Well, I think it's becoming more accessible now. And more studios are kind of getting the software and the kit to do it. But I think your stuff would just sound phenomenal in that sort of, 3D surround sound
Scratchy
above
insects.
you and below you and everything. It'd be great. So when that does happen,
yes, one day
I'll be signing up for the album. So people that have been watching this today cannot have avoided seeing paraphernalia.
The table of objects.
The table of objects.
Yes.
Or, I think, as you described it when we were chatting, the weird shit table.
Yes, table of shit. Yes.
So you have like a load of stuff on here which gives you that range of really interesting sounds. Could you talk us through a few of the bits and pieces that you have?
Yes, they all kind of things chop and change around. Little drum machine. And then various acoustic things like bells and shells and the thunder machine thing, and a radio. But this is my shelf, which I made. It's a piece of floorboard and some kindling glued on, spray painted black, with an old tobacco tin full of objects. The objects change depending on where I am. I'll take things, I've got a massive box of things, I'll take things out of the thing. But some of them are keepsakes from different gigs that I've done or places I've been to, and it's all mic'd up with a contact mic. Yeah. And then there's a chain, and it goes through all of these effects.
Yeah, and there's some chalk on there, and you sort of like scribble and stuff.
And I think this might be Craig's, actually. Don't tell him. Flint scraper, so you can carve into it, and because it's a bit of floorboard, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, marvellous. And that's a marimba, isn't it?
It's a kalimba.
Kalimba.
I have the kalimba because I've broken my music box.
Right.
And I keep forgetting to replace it. So I've been using the kalimba through, and it just goes through the same effects.
Yeah.
With a ABY pedal.
Yeah. Marvellous stuff. And then let's not forget the garden.
Oh, yes. I think this might have been my grandpa's. I'm not sure. But anyway, it does get used, but it's all clean. That also goes through all these things. And... I forgot my knitting needle. Usually I whack it with a knitting needle, but
you were using the whistle, I think.
That was too loud. So, fingernails.
Yeah, and when you were sort of tapping it, it was kind of going through the effects and things, and it was sounding kind of like, I don't know, theremin-y kind of.
Yeah, if you depending on how many, the thing is live trying to work out what thing is doing that many feedbacks. And managing that, but deciding what kind of delay and how long the delay is going to be, how many repeats. And, so you can get weird tones, depending on how you manipulate the delay.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting and so fascinating to watch. Sort of, I could see you kind of like moving towards the fork, and I'm thinking, I wonder what this is going to sound like.
Doing a bit of gardening.
Yeah. But here you are today doing this as solo, but you are not always a solo.
No, we are a duo. Always, whenever we possibly can be, we are a duo with my long-standing Chrome Hoof comrade, Emma Sullivan. But she's a paramedic and she's off saving people's lives.
I suppose you can't moan at that, really.
I know, I can't really whinge. She's a bit busy.
Yeah.
But whenever possible, we are the two of us.
Yeah. And were you a three at some point?
We were a three for a while. We've been a one, 2 in me and Ellen, and then a 3, and then a 2, and it kind of wafts. Ellen, also exceptionally busy, is a music therapist, and none of us live near each other, so it became quite complicated. We live in 3 completely different separate areas of the country.
Right. Okay. Now, going back over your kind of band back history and what have you, you mentioned Chrome Hoof, which was kind of your thing prior to this, but you've played with quite a number of other combos.
Lots of basically whoever needs a bassoon. Yes, I played with Jowhead in Angel Racing Food for years, and then playing with him again at the moment with Swell Maps C21, its new incarnation, which is great fun. Chrome Hoof and Knife World with Carvus Tarabi, who appears on various. He was in my little magic box, hiding, playing something. Play with Daniel O'Sullivan's live band and the Lindsay Cooper Songbook project, which is the hardest thing I've ever played in my life, but I love it.
Lindsay Cooper, woodwind person who played with
Henry Cow and News from Babel. Yeah, so it's playing some of the original members and non-original members. And we play the music that Lindsay wrote, some of her film music, but all of her Henry Cow tracks and News from Babel. It's really hard, but it's brilliant.
I remember Lindsay from
I'm a big
Fish
fan
Rising.
of hers.
Steve Hillage,
Yes.
she's on that.
She's my musical hero.
Great. I remember, before I forget, the other instruments that you play, because you even though you've brought a load of stuff that you hit and bang and what have you, and you've got sax there, you do other stuff too, and you mentioned it just now.
I just can't carry it all in one go.
You mentioned bassoon.
Yes, bassoon was my main instrument. It's what I studied since I was 10 or 11. Then alto sax. I took up soprano sax for the Lindsay Cooper thing because I needed to be able to play soprano and bassoon. And so I had to learn really fast. But it's now my favourite instrument to play.
Yeah.
Bassoon, yes.
Okay, so now talking about recordings, because if I go to your Bandcamp page, you got loads of stuff on there, bits and pieces that go back, I don't know, a good sort of 10 or more years, I suppose. And some of those are similar to the sort of things we're doing today, and some of them are very different. Yeah. It's a very eclectic kind of collection, I suppose, of just shapes and styles of music that you've been doing over the time. But the most recent album, which isn't on your Bandcamp site, is Geography. Yes. Which I think was it last year? Or a few months ago anyway? Yeah, last December, I think. Yeah, so just creeping out the end of 22. Yeah. That album's felt to me a little bit more like the stuff that you were doing today. Yes, it was. The Quietus contacted me, John Doran and Luke Turner, and said that they were doing this thing with State 51, and would I like to make a record? I was like, yeah, of course. And it was during lockdown, and I'd just moved to Wiltshire, and we have this Pathfinder map that for some reason we have many copies of in our house. And I was getting to know the area, so I went on walks and then drew them with red fountain pen ink all over my copy of the map. And that kind of became what I found in the hedgerows, and what I was discovering and finding my new landscape was what the album turned into. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise that. Louise Mason, who did the artwork, took my original map, scanned it, and turned it into mobiles and took photos of them to make the artwork. So it's very much about the specific place I live in Wiltshire. Yeah. And going forward, gigs coming up over the next sort of few months? Yes. I'll be doing, I'm doing something with Yumi Hara, who I'm playing for her solo album launch. We played together in the Lindsay Cooper thing. And we're doing a Think Cafe Alto. I'll be doing a solo set before that. And then the next VÄLVØ outing is the 19th of August. In our village near Salisbury. If you look on Facebook, you'll find the thing. It'll be us and Arch Garrison in our village church. Super. And then October at Eclectic in London. So a reasonable amount of stuff for people to sort of lock into.
Yeah,
to come
things
and,
are happening.
to come and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we say cheerio, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about future recordings.
Yep.
The next album.
Yep, it is.
What's going on?
It is ready. It'll be coming out. It's coming out. It's called Tiny Pilots, and it's going to be coming out on Slowfoot Records with Snorkel's Frank Bing, who mixed it and did an amazing job. I decided I didn't trust my ears enough, but I do trust Frank's ears. So he did that, and it's great, and it'll be coming out, and will be information about how to find it will be available in due course. It's quite different to Geography.
In what way?
There are more songs.
Right.
Dare I say pop songs?
What?
Kind of.
Sing-alongs?
I mean, they're still a bit wonky, obviously. They're not in full. But yes, so it's
you
quite different. It's longer as well.
Right. But we're thinking that this is going to be a sort of like a November, end of year release.
Yeah.
Yeah. And will that be vinyl as well as...
It will be vinyl and download.
Yeah. No CD?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
I would like to thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Because I just loved that. That was I loved it. It was great.
It was fun. And a new track written today.
Oh, yeah. Which one was that one?
The one, it's called Thoughts, but that doesn't really help. It had the tin whistle.
Right.
It's new.
Okay, so if you were watching this today, that was the first
It's just
outing.
been invented.
Yeah. When did you knock it up?
In my brain last night.
There you go. It's that recent.
Danger.
It's less than 24 hours old at time of recording. Brilliant. Thanks again, Chloe.
Thanks very much for having me, Phil.
Loved it. And we'll be back to see you again in a few weeks' time with what will be our finale show. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thanks.